Welcome to our Watch app course from Eduionics. My name is Brett, and just to kind of refresh where we are, we currently have data going from the iPhone to the Watch. In this lesson, we're going to actually go from the Watch to the iPhone. So if I start the Watch in debug mode, and we already have our iPhone app, which I'll start now as well. And we can see some of the output we're getting down here. And if I send data, so we can see here our output testing from iPhone. Application on Watch, so this is the output coming from the Watch. So the Watch is getting that data. If I scroll down, we can actually see this right here. This is the same string here, so that is working. And now what we need to do is add a button to our Watch, and we're going to send application context from the Watch to the iPhone. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the storyboard on the Watch. And we're going to use our main scene. And if I open up the utilities pane, I'll grab a button and put it right below the picker. And on here, I'll just do send data. And now what we need is an IB outlet. So I'll open up the assistant editor, and we want to go automatic. So right now we have stadium name, we have our picker, and below the picker I am going to put an outlet for the button. So actually, I'm going to put that down here because we want to do an action on this button. So down here where we have these other functions, I'll just do a control drag. And we're going to go with an action. This is going to be send data button click. So what we're sending is our application context. Now on the Watch, we're not going to take any input. We're just going to send some stock text over to the iPhone. So I'm going to set up a similar pattern to what we did before on the iPhone, which is going to be this do, try, catch pattern. And I'll do a constant on this context. This is going to be our dictionary. So I'll just do a my key. And I can do something like testing from Watch. And then I'll do try WC session. This is going to be default session. And then we're going to have update application context. And then I'll pass in the actual context. This is all we want. And I'll just print data sent to iPhone. So we'll know what's going on with that. And now we need to catch in case there is an error. And I'm just going to print error occurred on Watch application context send. And that should do it. So now what we need to do is capture this on the iPhone side. So I'm going to go into the view controller for the iPhone. And then we can add a method for capturing this data. And I'll do that right here below our send button. So to get this function that we're after, it's going to be an application context. So I'll start off with session, and we want did receive application context. So right here, and then in here, we can go ahead and do what we want with the content coming back. So it's just going to be a string in this case. And I am going to do, let's see, I think we don't have a label on the iPhone that we can display anything for this. Let's see, we do from Watch. And let's see, what is from Watch called? Go back into the view controller. We have Stadium Watch data. So we can assign what we're getting back from the Watch to Watch data. That'll be text. And then what we want, actually we're not going to assign the whole thing of application context. We're going to pull out the key for this. So we'll do let data, application context. We know it's going to be my key coming from the watch. It's going to be a string, and we may have to do some unwrapping there. We could do data, make it very short, and then what I'm going to do is print the whole thing out. So application context from watch, and we'll do this. So that way we're printing the entire dictionary, including any key data. And so let's see, we probably have an unwrap to do here. This is a string, so let's see, we're having an issue here. We need to close with parentheses, and then I'll go ahead and build. Make sure there are no errors, that everything is updated. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the watch, which is going to start an associated iPhone simulator. So we're sending from the watch. The watch is in debug mode, and okay, so there's our debugger. That's what I wanted. So we can see the printouts. Here's the iPhone, so I'm going to go ahead and start it. And we've got our label right there. So if I scroll down on this watch, click send data, let's see, we can see data sent to iPhone. And the iPhone is getting it. So you can see testing from watch. So now we have it going back and forth. Now if I do send data, and there it is again to the watch. So our data is going both ways at this point, user controlled. Again, this is likely going to be maybe in a timer that's fetching data, or a listener that's triggering when it receives new data. And so the app is kind of managing all this in the background. But you can easily move it into those contexts from what we've done here. Next, what we're going to do is clean this up a little bit and take all this code and make it a little bit more manageable.